Hey, everybody. Welcome to our Tuesday talk. I'm so excited to be here as our first official Tuesday talk of the year. Last week was kind of an introduction. So, if you don't know me already, my name is Tamika Michelle Johnson, aka the Matchmaking Attorney. So, we'll be doing this every Tuesday for the most part live, except on the last Tuesday of the month where I'll kind of take a break. And this is not going to be a long session because anyone who knows me, and I'm looking up between Instagram and Facebook. So if you see my eyes changing, everybody, that's the reason why. We're not going to be super long because, if you guys know my story, I have an almost 2-year old and a 3.5-year old. And so life is crazy and we still need to do dinner and everything off of this. So, but definitely please share your comments, questions. Um, Anything like that as we're going forward because tonight we are talking about settling. That is a huge topic, right? All our lives we're told not to settle when it comes down to anything in our life. And I will say that that's a little ill-advised to not settle when it comes to relationships to a degree. So we're going to talk about that. Is it ever okay? And I will say sometimes it is. But before we start, though, just wanted to say, you guys know, Matchmaking Attorney, I have been very, very intentional on prospecting clients, especially male clients, because it always seems like women that we get the short end of the stick, right? Like there's not enough men. And so I was very intentional in trying to get more male clients. And so now I have more male clients, and I don't have enough women in my database. So, ladies, if you are looking, even if you don't want the full matchmaking services, definitely schedule a information session. It's about a 15-minute session. Just learn about our services. But I'm really looking for just to have women, professional women, six-figure women, six, seven-figure women in our database, just so we can match our male clients who are also six, seven-figure men. Um, it's not expensive. It's only about $200, and that's just basically to cover the cost of the consultation. So I know what you're looking for, just to make sure I'm making good quality matches. So go to the website and just book a information session. There's no charge for that, just so you know how the process works. But back to the subject, settling. So a few months ago, a gentleman, he sent me a message, and the question was, he was like, "Hey, what is settling, and why is it wrong?" And I was like, "You know what? That's a good question, and I have a good answer for that." Again, so all our lives we're taught not to settle, not to compromise, but that's what relationships are all about. So it is ill-advised to tell people not to settle, not to compromise when we all know that when we're in a relationship, we have to compromise. Whenever you're doing anything that involves another human being and there are emotions, there's going to be some give and take. So, whenever we look into those situations again, we have to kind of, look back, okay, and figure out what settling actually is. Um, there is no one that's going to fit our image of a perfect person. And when I first started practicing law over 15 years ago, the first 3 to 5 years, um, I did several different things. But I took door cases, right? So anything that came to the door, because I was in private practice, I was in solo practice, didn't have any clients, so I took anything that came to the door. But a lot of those cases were family law, right? Right. So usually it's family law and criminal law. I didn't want to touch criminal law, so I did a lot of family law, child support, child custody, those kinds of things, and personal injury along the way as well. So, as many of you know, and there's a lot of attorneys who may be listening or tuning in, but anyone can relate. 99% of our cases actually settle, right? Usually in mediation, pre-trial, before you actually go to trial. But those cases settle overall. Just across the board in the country, all lawsuits, 90 to 95% of lawsuits settle. So why would we treat our personal lives any different? Um, and no one ever gets everything that they want. When you have a client just in that situation, family law, divorces, there's one person who wants one thing and everything, and the other person wants everything else. So no one wants to budge, but at the end of the day, everyone ends up coming together and there's some give and take. You don't get everything that you want. You have to you have to prioritize the things that you want and figure out which ones are the most important and which ones are required in order to deal with that situation. So, it's like when you go to court, you have a lawsuit, and you decide not to settle. That's a huge gamble, right? You go to court, it's either win or lose. And so a lot of us are losing. We're taking a gamble and we're losing. We're losing at the end of the day when it comes to dating relationships because we have such a high bar and we want everything to be in a perfect place and it's just not realistic. So, in my truth be told, both men and women are losing out on potential good partners because they think that they're settling. They think that they're missing out on something. People think that there's something better to come on the other end. There usually isn't. It's now there's different, but there usually isn't better. And so you have to kind of reevaluate what those things are that you're quote unquote settling on. So, you know, um, again, we're gambling and we're losing out. And so many people, like anyone who's listening now, you're probably trying to figure out, okay, well, how do I do this right, without totally compromising my values, which you can do. Um, but just to do it right, how do I approach this correctly? So let's go back to the question of settling. It was a good answer, a good question. And again, I said I had a good answer. There's things that I look at. So I look at there's things that we all deserve and there's things that we desire, right? And there's not a lot of things that I feel like we deserve, but there are some things that we should never settle on. There are some things we should never compromise on. Um, and those are basic things. We all deserve to be respected in a relationship. We all deserve not to be lied to. We all deserve not to be cheated on. And none of us are deserve or should be in a situation where we're being physically, mentally, or emotionally abused. Aside from that, those things are desires. We as women, we deserve to be loved, we deserve to be admired, and we deserve to be desired. You love that, right? We love to be desired. And okay, there's a little caveat. And a man should come to the table with a stable, decent income. We'll talk a little bit about income, but yeah, that's you. We want them to come with a stable income. And just because, again, there's a lot of women who are highly successful, 6, 7 figures, just killing it in the game. And just because you can pay all the bills does not mean you should pay all the bills. I have been there. I have done that. I am not going back. And it is unacceptable on every level. So, been there, done that, could write a book about it. I'm sure some of you can too. Um, but pretty much anything else outside of those things, respect, being lied to, cheated on, abused, everything else is a desire, right? Height, weight, body type, education level, attractiveness, money, aside from, having a little bit of it. Um, the way that a man talks, grammar, that was huge for me. Look at people like Steve Harvey, killing it, right? That's the hardest working man in show business now. He probably doesn't have the greatest grammar, but it doesn't make him any less intelligent. Um, so, there's some people who are kind of like, I want, my man to talk a certain way. And I get that because one of my pet peeves is people talking in double negatives. Some people can't understand that. Some people can't. Some people can. If you understand that, put that in the comments. I'm not by myself on that, right? But yeah, I had honestly, I had 3 pet peeves. Still do. One of them is the speaking with double negatives. Like it just does something to my core, and my daughter calls me the grammar queen in the house. It bothers me. Do you know my husband has managed to speak in triple negatives? That's not an easy thing to do. But it doesn't have anything to do with the character. And we've talked about it. I've never understood it because his mother taught English and she was an English specialist. I was like, how you end up talking with triple negatives? That doesn't make any sense to me. But we talk about it. But yeah, that's one of the things it used to bother me in previous relationships. Oh my goodness, you're talking double negatives. It used to bother me to the core. And I had stopped talking to people because of it. But I have learned and I have grown, I have matured. So that does not, again, have anything to do with how a person is and how they treat you. Because we can actually work on that, right? If you say it enough times. Um, Now, when I say, there's things that we desire and they're not necessarily required, that's not to say not to have standards. They're definitely, you definitely have to have standards. You definitely have to have values and principles, and you need to stay true to those things. But let's circle back to those desires, right? Last week we talked about height. Now, ladies, we all like a nice tall man, right? 6'3", 6'4", whatever, above 6 feet. And last week, I was given the statistics that only 13 to 14% of men in the US are 6 feet and taller. If that is on your list of what you want in a man, you need to rethink that. I thought I was going to be with a man when I was in like high school, college. I just knew I was going to be with a man who was 6'3", 6'4", an NBA player. My husband's not even 6 feet. He's like 5'11". He's taller than me, but he's not 6 feet. So, the height, that's a desire. Is it a critical criteria? That on your critical criteria list? Height. You want to rethink that because almost every woman is going after that tall man. What's crazy? I was looking at some statistics the other week that the majority of CEOs of companies are above 6 feet because the average height of men in the U.S. is 5'9". So there's like this bias of height. It does not take away from your potential on any level. But it's just interesting that even in corporate America, generally speaking, that people respect tall figures. But again, when it comes to relationships or anything else, really, the height is just not important. It's a desired, yeah, but it's not important at all. I remember when I was like in my 20s, I was in the club. It's been so long since I've been to a club. I wouldn't even know what to do. Forget COVID. I wouldn't even know what to do. Um, but I remember I used to just get hit on like so many times by short men or shorter men. I used to be like, why are y'all trying to talk to me? Don't you know I will stop you? I will walk all over you. But no, I mean, men, they deserve love. Doesn't matter what their height is. So, again, I have matured and realized that that is not as vital or as important as I used to think it was, as the ideal that I had for a partner. Um, Income. We all want, especially you ladies who, and I know so many women who are just like I said, they're just killing it, bosses, making all kinds of crazy, crazy loot. The average income, and I said this last week, is in the United States is $67,000 a year, and that's down by $2,000. Used to be $69,000 a year, the average income in this country. And again, so many women that I know are making so much more than that. So if you meet a man who's making $75,000 a year, he's already above average. So, to have the requirement that a man make as much money as you or close to you, and that's something that you really want to reevaluate. Is that something that is required? Because the average person again doesn't make nearly that much money. So now he needs to contribute with that 75 or whatever it is. That's one of the standards that you should have. Again, there should be some stable income and contribution, but he doesn't have to make as much money as you. And I know for many women, that's not even a big deal. Usually it's more of an issue for men, quote unquote, being intimidated by the amount of money that a woman makes. But there's some other things that you can do to actually counterbalance that, so a man does not feel intimidated, even if you do make more money than him. So at the end of the day, like I said, I wasn't gonna make this super, super long. Those are the things that we desire. So if you are kind of like, okay, I do have like this perfect image, just make a list. Make a list of 3 things. I know some of our list ladies are like, we got like 10, 12, 15, 20 things on our list of what we want in a man. Pick the top 3 and let that be your bar, right? Aside from the things that you deserve, because there's certain things that you deserve, and then you should not settle or compromise on those. But you should actually look at, compromising on those things that you actually desire. Good men and women come in all different shapes and sizes, and so does love, right? There's plus size love everywhere, and short men love strong and good and hard. They will be committed, boys. So, don't discount a person just because of their height or weight or anything like that. If it's unhealthy weight, just work with a person. See if you can get some of that weight down. Do it together. Be a support system. So, like I said, it wasn't gonna be long. I have to go order pizza for my kids tonight. Next week, I'm going to come on. We're going to talk about roles. We're going to talk about the gender roles. We're going to talk about what is the role of a man in a relationship and what is the role of a woman in a relationship. Because now that women are so much more successful and capable and accomplished, we're going to talk about have those roles, those traditional men and women roles, have they changed any? Should they change? Should things still be the same? Even though we're powerhouses again in the workplace, does that change the way things are at home? So I hope that was a little entertaining, informational, all that. I'll see you guys next week. I will, if you've chatted or put anything in the chat on Facebook, I'll get to those also on Instagram. Y'all know this is my first Instagram live that I've done. Crazy, right? But I'll be back next week. So you guys have a good evening and I'll see you guys next week. Bye.